Hello. Hello everyone, good morning. Good morning to you. This is Pip Coleman coming to you for the Find Your Soul show. And today it is almost the end of March, which is amazing. And so we are still talking about the topic of love. But today's topic is going to be about loving other people. And a beautiful perspective on the concept of love and loving others is from the wonderful Neal Donald Walsh, who wrote the series of books called Conversations with God. And I'm not sure if you've read those, but they were one of my very first spiritual and opening up books that I read. The other one was The Celestine Prophecy by Robert, oh my goodness, I've just forgotten his name. Robert Redfield, not Robert Redfield. Anyway, last name Redfield, first name, oh my goodness, I can't believe I've forgotten his first name. Anyway, it'll come to me. So beautiful, amazing. James Redfield, there you go. It usually does. So the wonderful James Redfield wrote The Celestine Prophecy, which is a fabulous, fabulous book, fiction story, and the whole series of books about the 12 insights into yourself are incredible. If you're just beginning your spiritual journey, those are an amazing set of books to get you thinking about energy, thinking about your connection with other people, and the way that energy and connection works, spirituality, all of it. Amazing, amazing stuff. But today I wanted to talk about the love connections that we have with other people, and a perspective that I read about in the book, as I said, books by Neal Donald Walsh. And so in the third book, this is the third book in the series, Neal has a conversation about love and about the misperceptions that we have about love and giving and receiving, and also that concept of relationships, marriage. It's really interesting. If you've got the book, you might like to have a relook at chapter 13. Because chapter 13 is when he really dives into the concept of marriage and relationships and how we need to readjust and reset the way that we think about relationships and marriage in our culture. And it's one of those amazing sort of like blow your mind kind of moments when you go, I've been under this false illusion that marriage and relationships are, and that I need to be a particular way in relationships. And I think that's interesting. And so I'm going to have a little chat to you about that today and see what comes up for you as we coming to the end of March. Hello, Kerry. Welcome. Nice to see you here. Say hello when you arrive, everybody. It's nice to kind of connect with you on this beautiful day. It is down here in Phillip Island. It's a little bit grey, a little bit rainy. We're definitely into that space of autumn now. I know it's only been a week, but it's already it's like we just changed like that from being in summer to autumn. That's Victoria for you. So yeah, that's all right. That's okay, Gary, no worries. You'll be able to watch the video back later if you miss any of what we say. That's the beautiful thing. And if for some reason you can't watch the video, you can also go to my podcast. The link is in the information below the video. The podcast means that you're just listening to the audio of the session. And there's also the YouTube channel as well, which I will be uploading it to the YouTube channel. And this video will also be shared on my personal page. So it's everywhere. I'm everywhere. You'll be able to find me. If you can't listen to the whole thing today. But I wanted to start with reading you a little piece from the book of Neal Donald Walsh's book, book number 3 of the Conversations with God series. And this is the topic that I wanted to just kind of cover today. On page 230, he says, Neal says, we were discussing marriage. We were discussing love and its requirements. And God says, love has no requirements. That's what makes it love. If your love for another carries requirements, then it's not love at all. And some counterfeit version. That's what I've been trying to tell you here. That's what I've been trying to say in a dozen different ways with every question you've asked here. Within the context of marriage, for example, there's an exchange of vows that love does not require. Yet you require them because you do not know what love is, and you make each other promise what love would never ask. I think that's really interesting, that concept of requirements, that concept of obligation, that concept of expectation that we have when we get into a relationship with someone. And it's not just in intimate relationships that we do this. It's in any relationship that we have with another human being, whether it's a sibling, a parent, a child, a sister, a friend. It's not just our intimate relationships where we have a list of rules that we think that person needs to adhere to so that we'll love them. And that's really interesting, because the essence of love is not about requirement. It's not about obligation. It's not about expectation. It's not about rules. Love is above all of that. Love, the energy, the vibration of love is way above that. And that's the thing that we're trying to tap into when I'm talking about shifting your perspective around love. And the really interesting thing about this chapter 13 in Conversations with God is that Neal and his wife, because of this conversation that he has, this opening up that he has, this channeling, he decides that he and his wife are going to do new vows for their wedding. And they have a whole beautiful, it's an amazing, he puts it in here, he puts the vows in here to show that whole concept of not being obligated and not requiring anything of the other person, but that they be themselves and that you be yourself, and that you are allowed to do as you wish. And in doing as you wish, you are free, and you are free to choose, and therefore you are both in that space of freedom within the context of a relationship, which is so amazing. And when I was teaching this concept, when I was working on cruise ships, I decided that I would do these relationship classes as part of my a series of classes that I was doing. So I was teaching meditation, I was teaching a destiny drawing, like a life purpose type of class, and I was teaching this class, this relationship class, like redefining relationships. And so I had a lot of people coming in their couples to these classes, and there were some people who really were activated by that concept of no requirements, that concept of letting somebody be exactly who they are and not holding them to a particular set of rules, because they felt like that was too hard. They wanted to have the control of the relationship, and don't we all want? That's a natural human thing, to want to know and have certainty. And if you let somebody be exactly who they are and let them do exactly what they need to do for them, that is an uncertain thing. They could choose to not spend time with you, and then that's when the ego comes up and starts to go, oh my God, they don't like me anymore, they don't love me, because they're choosing themselves and what they would like to do over what we would like them to do. So if this is resonating with you, feel free to give me a little heart or make a comment if you would like to make a comment. I know it is a bit of an activating subject. This is a very interesting concept to consider. And the other thing that he talks about in this chapter 13 is the concept of giving and receiving. So, and I really like the way he does that too. Oh, thanks, Maria. Obviously, I always trust that the people who are here in this moment, listening to this video, whether you listen to it live or whether you listen to the audio on the podcast, or whoever it is that chooses to listen to this show, I always feel like they are getting exactly what they need, and it's always the perfect person. And the ones who are seeking, the ones who are asking the question of, how can I do better? How can I be more of who I am? How can I live a life that is more authentic? Those are the people who always seem to jump in and see the video and go, oh, this was the perfect thing that I needed to hear today. So thanks, Maria, and thanks, Kerry, and anyone else who's watching. I can't see anyone else has commented just yet. So let me read you another little thing about giving and receiving. So this is on page 231. One of your cultural myths about love is that it's about giving rather than receiving. This has become a cultural imperative, and yet it's driving you crazy and causing more damage than you could imagine. It gets and keeps people in bad marriages. It causes relationships of all kinds to be dysfunctional. Yet no one, not your parents, to whom you look for guidance, not the clergy, to whom you look for inspiration, not your psychologists or psychiatrists, to whom you look for clarity, not even your writers and artists, to whom you look for intellectual leadership, will dare to challenge the prevailing cultural myth. And so songs are written, stories are told, movies are made, guidance is given, prayers are offered, and parenting is done, which perpetuates the myth. Then you are all left to live up to it, and you can't. Yet it's not you that's the problem, it's the myth that's the problem. So what he goes on to talk about is that you cannot truly give to another for the simple reason that there is no other, that we're all one, and that when we are giving and receiving both in a relationship, it is you're giving to yourself and you're giving to the other person, because we're not separate. We're not a separate entity. But the myth is interesting. So that myth that we're supposed to be something for someone else, it keeps us separate. It keeps us separated from the actual source of love. So that's interesting, Jody. It resonates. As long as choices made are not detrimental to the other person. Okay, so that's really interesting. Yeah, that is the whole concept of what I'm talking about. So when someone chooses to do as they wish, and you both are agreeing that they're doing as they wish in terms of their highest self, that's what we're talking about, is they're doing as they wish in terms of their highest self, not they're doing as they wish in terms of harming people. So if they're cheating on you, if they're doing those things, then something is not. The whole point is that something is not right within the relationship. If people are not being true to each other, there's a difference between being true to each other and being honest and with integrity, and somebody who is deliberately doing something to harm the other person. It's about, I think that's the thing that activates most people, is when I say do as you wish, because that tends to make people go, oh, you mean they can just go and, sleep with somebody else, or they can go and, go away for like months at a time. And, it's reclaiming the word selfish. It's thinking about selfish and looking after ourselves in the concept of, in the way that if you're looking after yourself and you're being true to yourself, then we're talking about you're being true to yourself, they're being true to themselves, and you're both being loving in that sense. Then when you come together, when you are together, you are free together, rather than trying to fulfill somebody else's needs that they're not fulfilling for themselves, and they're not being able to live up to that expectation. Do you get what I mean? Yeah, cool. Thanks, Jody. That's good. I'm glad that I clarified that for you, and that's perfect. I'm so glad that you commented, because that is exactly what happened a lot when I was teaching this relationship class on the cruise ship. People would say, "What do you mean?" And our ego would come in and go, "But if they choose for themselves, they might not choose me." And what does that mean? What does that actually mean? Because we are social beings, we are human beings, we are in our body essences, but we are also spiritual beings. And our soul knows that when we're with somebody and it resonates and it vibrates beautifully and we have that high, wonderful feeling, that loving feeling is a reflection of the love that we feel in ourselves. You know that when you're not feeling good about yourself, you also usually don't feel that other people, the other, are not loving you too. It's very rare that you'll be feeling bad and someone will be able to make you feel loved, because you're not in that receiving space. You're not in that space of loving. But when we are feeling loving and happy and aligned and in that beautiful space, you can receive because you're giving. And that's what he's talking about in that comment about, love is not just about giving. It's about an exchange. It's about giving and receiving to yourself, so that you can feel the resonance of being in a relationship with another person. So yes, it is a bit of an activating topic. It's definitely one of the ones that gets a bit tricky when we talk about it. So feel free to ask any questions if another question has come up for you. I really love the whole series of of Neal Donald Walsh's books. The whole series of the Conversations with God is wonderful. The first book is particularly, I really enjoyed the first book, and then the third book was really cool, because it came back and talked about the 3 key areas of life, one being relationships and spirituality, and it's quite interesting what he touches on. But here's the bit about love as giving and receiving. Feel free to write your questions while I'm reading this little bit to you. Okay, so here we go. Everything you do for yourself. This is true because you and all others are one. What you do for another, you therefore do for you. What you fail to do for another, you fail to do for you. What is good for another is good for you, and what is bad for another is bad for you. This is the most basic truth, and yet is the truth that you most frequently ignore. Now, when you're in a relationship with another, that relationship has only one purpose. It exists as a vehicle for you to decide and to declare, to create and to express, to experience and to fulfill your highest notion of who you are. Now, if who you are is a person who is kind and considerate, caring and sharing, compassionate and loving, then when you are being these things with others, you are giving yourself the grandest experience for which you came into this body. This is why you took a body, because only in the physical realm of the relative could you know yourself as these things. In the realm of the absolute from which you came, this experience of knowing is impossible. So that's really cool that we chose to be in this body, and in this body we can learn about relating to people. We can learn about ourselves in relation to other people. Whereas when you're in, as he calls it, the absolute, or what I call the soul plane, when you're up in that space being a ball of beautiful light energy, you don't have that same concept of relating to other people. You are a soul, you are an energy, ball of energy, and so you're not getting that same experience because you're part of the oneness. You're part of the stars. You are the stars are you, and everything is one. And so you don't have that clear concept of being me in this body and you in that body, and coming together and relating to each other and understanding ourselves in the process. That's the goal, I guess. That's the thing to remember that I wanted to come in and share with you, that is my understanding of what love is. And yeah, exactly, Jody. Yeah, the law of divine oneness. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that concept. It's very it's tricky to contemplate. It's a big conversation. It's not just a hey Pips coming in for 20 minutes to talk about this and to cover the whole topic. And that's why I recommend that you look at books like Neal Donald Walsh's series, and you look at the Celestine Prophecy, and start with those books that sort of resonate and help you to look at love and loving yourself and loving each other in a way that is loving, in a way that is compassionate, in a way that serves you. Because here's the thing, and this is really the crux of it all for today, that I'm going to let you, I know there's lots to think about already in this little moment that we've talked, but the crux is that if you are trying to understand yourself more deeply, trying to get that love and compassion and light into your space, if you're not feeling love, if you're not feeling loved, if you're not feeling loving, it's because you have that, you believe that myth that I was just talking about. You've been sucked into that belief that we are completely separate, that we are not part of the oneness. But that's okay. You can change that belief. Beliefs can be changed. As Louise Hay always said, a thought and a belief can be changed. It's not something that you have to keep on believing. You can make a decision, make a choice to change your beliefs and be in a happier space. So, I know that's a lot. It's a lot today. And, oh, Kerry, you're back. That's okay. Just rewatch the video some other time when you've got a car or out of a car when that's not turning on and off all the time. So that's all I wanted to share with you today, because I know it's a big topic. If you want to talk a little bit more about this, as I say, please have a look at those books that I mentioned, and if you're not sure, just send me a message and I can send you the information. You might like to, I can also send you the reworked vows, the wedding vows that are in this third book. It's quite an interesting way of viewing a relationship in a very interestingly, it's a commitment to be not committed in the same way that to be not obligated in the same way that we have in a lot of our relationships. So if you're interested, I can send you those reworked marriage vows that Neal Donald Walsh has put in that book. Anyway, love, it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's something that we all want and need, and we are, in truth. You are all love, and you are all loved, and you are all loving. That's the essence of your soul. So, my lovelies, it is already the end of the show. If you have any questions, let me know. If you'd like to re-listen to this, feel free to come back and re-listen. I would love to talk to you, and I will see you next week, because next week on Thursday is the 1st of April, and so that means we'll be starting a whole new topic for the month, and next month's topic is all about being a brave soul. Courage and bravery. That's what we're going to be talking about all of next month. So take care, be divine, and I will see you next week. This is Pip Coleman. Bye for now.